Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Expansive CEO podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Chapman. And today, my guest is such a cool person. Like, seriously, you're going to absolutely love it. I met Mycal. His name is Mycal Anders. I met him through just a super wonderful networking group that I'm a part of. But then we also got to actually hang out in person at a mastermind retreat. And just getting to know you, Mycal, has been such a treasure. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I've gotten to know you. So let me actually like read your bio though, too, rather than just
Okay.
because it's important, right? So Mycal Anders, he is a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, a keynote speaker, a founder of Next Level Performance Consulting. He coaches high performing leaders to align. This is going to be a
Mhm.
key focus to their habits, align their habits, health, and leadership so they can show up with power, not just for the boardroom, but for their whole life. His frameworks are trusted by executives at Amazon, Schwab, Thunderbird School of Global Management, and founders across the country. And his motto is alignment first, progress always. Mycal, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. And let's go. Let's just dive in. Tell me.
Absolutely. No, Hannah, I am grateful. I am honored to share time, space, and energy with you today and beyond. The universe doesn't make mistakes, and we were brought into each other's company on purpose.
Absolutely.
The journey's been interesting. Uh, I've been in my field of strength and conditioning for 25 years, and in this evolution of leadership and character development for the last 10. And that was born of this awakening I had with my clients. They show up looking to lose 40 pounds, get six-pack abs, get off blood pressure medication, put distance between them and the doctor. And yet, if that's supposed to solve all your life's problems, getting in the best shape of your life, and we accomplished that, but your life hasn't gotten any better, where's the disconnect? Why didn't it? And when I started asking that question and helping my clients solve those issues that are prevalent in the other 23 hours of their day, all the friction that they experience in the fitness process began to start just kind of took care of itself. So now their relationships are healthier. They're obviously in better shape. They're making more money. They've got better time prioritization. Those four buckets, health, wealth, relationships, and time, are all improving simultaneously. And it's not because of their fitness, it's because they are walking in alignment with who they are and what they want because it's what they want. And that really showed up for me. That's been a through line in my life. I took a scholarship to the Air Force Academy out of high school. And I was too inexperienced and naive in life to stand firm in the idea that that wasn't my path.
Mm.
Both my parents are veterans. My mom's actually here with us right now. She's a retired colonel in the Air Force. And I had three goals when my dad asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up, when I was 16. I said, I wanted to play D1, I wanted to get a degree, and I wanted to serve my country.
Mm.
Well, then the Air Force Academy came calling, and oh, of course, that's all of that tied up with a bow.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that's not what I wanted, or not so much, that's not the path I wanted. And as I got to the academy, what I found out was, well, first of all, I got to see what talent really looks like. I was a work hard guy. I've got some gifts, but not NFL gifts. I
Mm.
wasn't gonna play. I wasn't gonna end up playing on Sundays. And I realized how much I loved the training for sport more than I loved playing the sport. And so the gift I got when I got dismissed, kicked out of the Air Force Academy for violating the honor code, I had to recalibrate my goals. So where I ended up fit a couple of criteria. I got to play right away. They had a program for health and human performance, and I hadn't closed the door on the military. So sight unseen, Scott Conley called me and said, "Hey, talk to your coaches at the academy. Sounds like you're in a transition period. Why don't you come play for me at East Texas?" And I showed up. I said yes, and I realized like, oh my God, I'm from Maryland originally, and I showed up to a place where there's more cows than people, out in the middle of nowhere, about 75 miles as the crow flies east of Dallas, Texas. And I was like, oh man, okay, this is what the bottom feels like. And then I blew out my knee 6 games in. And I was like, nope, it gets deeper. Okay, here we go. And long story short, I end up finishing my degree a whole year ahead of my academy class. And I spent 2 years in Dallas as a strength and conditioning coach, personal trainer. And my buddy took me to a soccer game at SMU. And for the first time since leaving the academy, I heard the national anthem play. And on reflex, I stood up at attention and realized that I still have the itch to serve. This is October of '07. I start the application process for officer candidate school for the United States Marine Corps. And on the day after Christmas, my recruiter calls me and says, "Hey, I'm at my mom's house in Nashville, Tennessee. And there's a lot of friction between me and my dad right now. It's going on 3 years." Day after Christmas, my recruiter calls and says, "Don't unpack. You're checking in on January 18th." I hang up the phone. I look to my dad and I said, "I'm gonna make it right." I made it. I did it. They said yes. And on New Year's Eve, my dad went to sleep and never woke up.
Mm.
And it was OCS, the basic school, air traffic control school, and a deployment to 7 months in Afghanistan before I had the time and the space to sit and be with that process and just for like admit to myself that I was proud of me and that he sees it and this is my aligned choice. I did it the way I needed it to happen. And that through line of alignment, because if I talk to anybody that I was at the Air Force Academy with, that it is unanimous that Mycal, you were supposed to be a Marine. Like there was no,
You're no Air Force guy.
yeah, you would have not thrived. You would have been fine, but you would have not thrived in the Air Force. And uh that became just a very subtle God wink as to what it is to be in alignment because my path to the Marine Corps is not anything like I thought it would be. Um, and that's just an example of without any awareness of alignment as to when you are, it's even better when you do it on purpose,
Hmm.
you know, and these are the concepts and the teachings that I get to coach now. And you stop when you come into alignment with who you are and what you want, and you're doing it intentionally, you second guess yourself so much less. And I teach this concept called the next easiest step with my clients in that when you're in that process of growth, don't worry about getting to the mountaintop right now. What's the next thing? What keeps you in phase, as we say in football? What keeps you in the game? Do that thing and then do the next thing and the next. And all of a sudden, you create this process of compounding effort that moves all the friction out of your way and incrementally gives you all the momentum you need. So yeah, that's the journey, that's the path, and that's what brought us together.
Well, so what I'm hearing, and one of the things that you said before we started recording, even is this, um, you know, a huge piece of what alignment means for
Hmm.
you. And I, side note, like 100% agree, is that when, the you that is at work is the same as the you that's at the gym, is the same as the you that is the dad, is the same
Hmm.
as the you that is the husband, right? Like all of these aspects are in
Hmm.
alignment
Yes.
when they are, one is not different from the other.
Yeah.
And what that brings up for me, the word that comes up is integrity.
Hmm.
Is that, like, that is what, to me, that's what true integrity is that you are being your whole self wherever
Hmm.
you go.
Yeah. What's showing up for me? I love that because integrity is our one of our core values. Integrity, courage, and ownership. And what's showing up for me as you describe that back to me is when your identities, in my case, father, entrepreneur, husband, friend, coach, when those identities are unified, when they are one, that's alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hmm. And uh, in my own journey exploring what it is to um stand in that truth, to uh, we were talking about as you evolve, what do I take with me and what do I leave behind?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you ask that question of alignment, does this continue to serve me or is this actually, did it serve a purpose and it no longer helps me?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So for example, every decision we make in the Marine Corps, whether it's cleaning toilets or uh, executing commander's intent in a combat environment and everything in between, all of those things are done under the premise of life and death. If I mess this up, somebody's going to die. And that urgency, everything that comes along with that, inspecting what you expect, being direct with your communication, being thorough in your process, those things have tremendous utility. And I feel like they're universal in application. However, the shadow in your language that comes along with that is creating that life and death expectation on people that have no context for that urgency. And so I actually just had this conversation yesterday with a transitioning Marine. He's like, I just don't understand why they don't move at my speed. It's like, dude, nobody is telling you to not be a Marine anymore. Nobody is telling you to not carry uh, those traits that facilitate success onward. However, it's the energy and expectation that you're putting on those characteristics that have now created an obstacle for the impact that you actually want to have. So, recontextualizing, reframing what those high standards look like in application and knowing that there's not a decision I'm ever going to make for the rest of my life that has the stakes that they did when I was in uniform. So I can take that off and still carry a high standard. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yes. Well, and okay, this is like cracking me up, blowing my mind, like all at the same time, that this inspect what you expect is
hmm
like so good because
hmm
as we talked about before we started recording, a really important part of your human design
Yeah. Let's
is
go.
that you are here to help people shift
hmm
from expectation to
mm
detachment
Yeah.
to celebration. And so literally I'm hearing that like we talked about it before and it had one meaning to me in that
Yeah.
moment and hearing you talk literally that example that you just gave
hmm
is so powerful and like I can fully appreciate how that as an individual that like yeah why aren't people moving as fast as me because of like it's been literally drilled into you, right?
hmm
So many times and in actual life or death situations. And even people who haven't been in the military but lived in,
hmm
say, traumatic situations also,
Sure. Yeah. hmm
right? Where they also had to, like, they had to expect of themselves
Right.
perfection in order to stay safe. The anxiety that
hmm
comes up that can look like rage, that can look like anger, but
hmm
truly is fear that someone is going to die and it might be me,
Yeah.
right? That's like the underlying fear underneath that.
hmm
That's an expectation.
Yes. hmm Yeah.
Like, holy shit, okay. You're placing, yeah, like like holding on so tight to like it
hmm
has to be this way. You guys have to do it this way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people will die,
Yeah.
is an
hmm
expectation.
Yes. hmm
And how do we
And
detach? How do we let go?
that's a great question. Because it does have utility, but it doesn't have forever utility, right? That's where the uh, we tend to um, disconnect from what's needed because of the urgency of the mission, the recalibration, and the time required to come to it isn't the luxury that you have, right? And depending on how big that capital T trauma might be, you may need more time and space than is allotted to move through it and see it through to its conclusion and feel everything that you need to feel. And it's genuinely interesting. I just did a workshop for the Thunderbird School of Global Management. 40 global executives from Riyadh, the Netherlands, China, Venezuela, and it was interesting to have all those cultures in one room and take them through a process in which they tapped back into themselves. And I had a woman weeping in the back. And I said, what's showing up for you right now? She's like, I did not realize how long it had been since the last time I actually felt my body.
Mm.
And these are people to my knowledge anyway that have not had the combat experience, that have not had the traumatic images that come with war, um, and yet that pause and taking holding deliberate and intentional space for oneself still had the same impact that I had on the highway back to Yuma in the middle of the desert. The radio went out and I was all by myself, alone with my thoughts at 75 miles an hour. And I just wept for what felt like forever because I finally had the time alone with my thoughts in such a duration that I ran out of nonsense and was only left with what needed to be processed. And it was such a cathartic, emotional dump.
Hmm.
As soon as I got back to Yuma, I slept for like 12 hours, and when you're running in an elevated sympathetic state, and it's subtle when we're talking about these low stakes, these non-life and death scenarios. It's subtle, but it's persisted for so long. What shows up in that moment of catharsis is not capital T trauma. It's just like, I don't need to do this anymore. I can't do it like this anymore. And in that moment, you've not only made room for awareness, you've also made room for change.
Hmm.
And now you can take whatever that next easiest step is in a manner that actually serves you. And it's been my experience with and through my clients and on my own journey that in that moment, there you will never feel more powerful, more confident, more competent, more ready, even if you're not ready, because you don't know, you know.
Right.
And what happens when you start to make that connection to heart and gut, you stop, or at least it happens less and less, letting your brain, your logic mind come over the top and mess it up and interfere, right? Because it's when that pattern has been so persistent for so long, when you make that shift to do something different, there's a very distinct possibility that you will encounter some friction. Not because it's hard. I want to make this very, 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 very clear. Not because it's hard, but because it's unfamiliar.
Hmm.
And your conscious mind does not like to play in the unfamiliar. It's why adults who have been away from school or the learning process, who find their way into coaching or mentorship after like a big gap, and you've seen this in your world, they're so resistant to something new,
Hmm.
right? Because you're starting to untether these connections to these patterns that at one point, for sure, somehow, some way, had utility.
Right.
And now you're acknowledging consciously that they don't.
Right. Or you're ready to let them go.
Yeah. And now you're between identities, if you will. And that's a tough place if you're resistant. That's a really challenging place to be.
Well, one thing that was coming up as you were describing, this space of um, emotional release, emotional stillness,
Hmm.
right? And then clearing out an old story, clearing out an
Hmm.
old expectation, clearing something.
Yeah.
It leaves what that does for all of us is it leaves a void,
Hmm.
right? Nature abhors a vacuum. So, right. So it's like it's gonna be filled with something.
Yep.
And so what we have in that moment of emotional release, in that moment of clarity where all of a sudden you're like clear. That means you then, in that moment, it's so important
Hmm.
to have something there that's going to help you make that choice of that next step forward because that's what you're filling that
Hmm.
space with.
Yep.
Right? It's like you get to make an intentional choice. And like you said, you're in this clear spot. It seems so obvious. And ooh, this feels really important. If you don't take a step there,
Hmm.
again, nature abhors a vacuum. It's gonna pull something in
Yes.
to fill that space again if you
Hmm.
don't intentionally choose
Right.
what to fill it with.
Hmm. Yeah, there's a place there. Um,
So how do you do it in alignment? There we go.
yeah.
Right? Like
No,
what's you
it's
make
it
the choice.
yeah. The when you're in that place, so over time you recognize what it is. And this is really important because in the beginning it's so unfamiliar. It takes you off center. When that off center that you feel is actually, if you surrender to it, the the push or the pull that you're feeling is actually moving you towards something you desire.
Hmm.
Okay. And uh I love this for my clients that are in relationships that don't serve them, right? And if we engage early enough, the obvious question is, how bad are you going to sabotage this thing? How bad are you going to allow it to get before you force your hand, right? And what's interesting about these circumstances, more often than not, there's nothing quote unquote wrong. That person's not an asshole. This isn't a bad business idea. Um, I didn't completely screw this up, right? I just don't, it's not for me. I just don't want to do it like this anymore. Like they're very low frequency emotives, you
Hmm.
know. So the pain isn't extreme enough to force you to do anything. And this is a really challenging piece for people that have been out of alignment for a long time. To choose alignment means letting go of what's normal, familiar, and comfortable,
Even if it's bad for you.
even if it's bad for you. And what challenges people in my experience the most is when it's not that bad and they're choosing the change anyway. As opposed to this is obviously like red flag, hot stove, don't touch it, bad for you. Like then it's easy, right?
Hmm.
Then there's something to blame. There's circumstances that are outside of your control, right? Those are justifiable decisions, right? Where people are challenged the most is when they start living for themselves
Hmm.
and choosing that alignment for them, right? I had a moment not too long ago. We got all that rain here in Arizona a couple weeks ago.
A lot of rain, like a whole,
Lot
like
of rain.
crazy.
Yeah. We had a microburst. I didn't even know those came through here, but like hurricane force winds for like 2 seconds came through in a rainstorm. And uh, it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm on the porch with my wife and I'm watching our kids. And if you're not in Arizona, you're just like, why is this a big deal? But if you live in Arizona, you get it. Uh, I'm watching our kids just play in the rain. And I had this moment, right? Like I stepped outside myself and I just observed what I was observing. And in a previous phase of my life, if I still had my brick and mortar training facility, I'm not here for this moment. And everything that I'm building now is to preserve moments like this.
Mm.
So now that I have that, I like literally stepped outside myself and I have that imprinted in my brain and on my heart. It makes every seemingly challenging decision that much easier because now I know why, right? And especially when you're dealing with the clients I serve, entrepreneurs, business leaders, executives, people that are quote unquote the decision makers, it's really challenging for them because they're so mission driven to stand in creation.
Hmm.
How do I create this thing? How do I serve this mission and not leave myself behind in the process?
Ooh, oh, so they're putting the mission
Hmm.
ahead of their own humanity.
At the expense of what's really important to them
Yeah.
because it's how it's supposed to be done.
Hmm.
It's by the book, right? It's what they taught us in business school, right? And or that's what my mentor said.
You have to sacrifice.
Hmm. And I'm a fighter against balance in that I want my clients to achieve harmony so that imbalance is intentional. I don't want to create this unrealistic expectation that I'm going to be around for every single one of those moments that I just described, but creating an opportunity for me to have as many of them as possible so that the ones that I do miss are almost planned and on purpose. And they're in that there is no other way category as opposed to this is just the way it is,
Hmm.
which is where most people live.
Yes, absolutely. Especially high achievers, high performers, right? It's
Hmm.
like they're it's so interesting. It's so interesting because I would say we are almost exactly the same age. You're like 5 months older than me. Um, so we're in, my parents were, my mom is 63. My dad would have been 65
Okay.
this year. So
Hmm.
similar, I assume.
Yeah.
Um, and that story, because that's what
Hmm.
it really is, that story
Hmm.
of, I mean, for a lot of people it was dad. Dad just has to be, he just can't be here.
Right.
Right. Or
Hmm.
even, just yeah, just in general, like that's just the price you pay. And then you do that until you
Hmm.
retire and then you get to relax.
Hmm.
That was the story that they were
Hmm.
sold and that
Yep.
they performed and passed down to us. And then
Hmm.
we said, no,
Hmm.
we don't have to.
Right.
We don't have to do that. We can
Hmm.
do it a different way. We
Yeah.
can be present for our
Hmm.
children. We can be a part of their lives. We can, and I think this is one of the like fundamental, like we see each other
Hmm.
pieces is that when you take care of yourself, and I know
Hmm.
this for me too, this was a big shift
Hmm.
in my home and in my marriage when I started to take care of myself and to make my desires important.
Hmm.
It was a it was a culture shift in the relationship. My husband and I have been together for 24 years, long time.
Yeah.
And it took time for him to believe me when I said I want to take care of me, and
Hmm.
taking care of me helps me take care of you and the kids and everyone
Yes.
else in a bigger
Hmm.
way, and I want this for you too. It took
Hmm.
it took him a while to believe that.
Yeah.
It took us a while. It took me a while to figure out how to like you said, bring that into harmony.
Hmm.
Um, but man, I mean, 4 years in from that transition process,
Yeah.
that was like 2021
Hmm.
was the hardest year, and 2022 is when like, okay, we're starting to like figure it out.
Yeah.
Now in 2025, it's like I can't imagine
Hmm.
living another way
Yeah.
where like my desires are important and they
Hmm.
help drive our family forward in a new way. But guess what? That doesn't mean it's just me.
Right.
Adam, yours are important too. And I
Hmm.
want, like, what I want most deeply is for him to also
Right.
chase
And
what's,
not
yes,
or
and not
and.
or,
Yeah.
and the balancing act or the harmonization act.
Hmm.
And we're literally in it right now. He just started a new job that was a
Hmm.
huge up level for him.
Hmm.
And it's a wonderful opportunity. He's learning a lot. It's a lot. And it's like fire hose for sure
Yeah.
at the moment. And so like the new, okay, it's like, okay, how do we rebalance? How do we reharmonize
Hmm.
with this new reality? And
Yeah.
it'll change and it'll be different than what
Hmm.
we had before,
Yep.
but we've built the
I love.
foundation, right?
Yeah.
Of like
Hmm.
I can support you when
Hmm.
you're
Hmm.
stretching hard to try something new,
Yep.
just like I know you've supported me when I was stretching really hard
Hmm.
to try something new.
I love that. And that process, uh, I've done it with my business partner, I've done it with my wife, I've done it with my friends, I've done it with my mom. Yeah, that process that you just described is updating and upgrading your agreements.
Hmm.
And when we were transitioning away from the gym, my wife was in that business with me.
Oh, side note, you owned a gym, a brick and mortar gym. I don't think
Yeah.
you said that.
And I asked her as the writing was on the wall, I just said, "Hey, what if in this next phase you were just mom?" And not just mom. I think that's the biggest fucking job a human can do. There are days that I come home, duking it out in business, and then I see her at the table doing homework with the kids, and we're getting ready to load up for practice, and I'm like, I don't have any complaints, right? And uh when we were dating and got married, she was an earner. She was doing six figures, she was producing, and she was making things happen, and she was on the scene and doing fundraisers and galas, and launched an event coordination business, and like she was doing it, on the professional side. And then we had kids, and she wanted to be a good mom more than she wanted to make money. But the agreement that we were living in was that we would both work, we would both earn. And when I asked the question, just boohoo tears. And because she didn't know it was on the table,
Hmm.
we had never talked about it, we'd never discussed it. And we were existing in an outdated agreement. And since we've upgraded said agreement, how we're going to maneuver in our family, who's responsible for what in this new context, neither of us has ever been happier,
Hmm.
you know? And that has been a really fun process to and a really cool story to tell, uh, because it's great now. There was some challenges in the beginning, you know, but it's that friction that comes with the new is worthwhile, excuse me, is worthwhile knowing that you're both playing the same game, right?
Mm,
Yes, we made this decision and oh, I didn't see that coming. How do we feel about that? Who's gonna take that? Who gets to own that? Okay, cool. Awesome. Moving right along. Oh, didn't see that one coming. Okay, who's got this? Who's got, and now you're running in parallel towards the same goal line. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm,
And uh that's another new one for a lot of our people that we serve. It's like, oh wait, I can do that? I was like, hell yes, you can. And you should. Those seasons might last, like in our case, a while, a couple years, you know, but they could also be for a moment. I This is what I need right here, right now, if you want the best out of me.
mm-hmm,
Cool. Awesome. I can give that to you. Great. Okay, I'm good now. Sweet. Are we going back to the way things were? That's always an option. Or are we going to do something new and different moving forward from here?
mm-hmm,
I'm as Coach Bert uh, says, I'm open to everything and closed off to nothing.
mm,
And like that is such a powerful place to be when one of you is in any relationship, romantic, professional, or otherwise, you're out of alignment. But we have history. I care deeply for you. What what shifts? How do we update and upgrade the agreement of this relationship so that it serves the highest and best version of the both of us? And that's such a beautiful conversation. And I love it when my clients have them and they come back to us and they're like, oh my God, I had that courageous conversation. I thought it was going to go this way because we come in with all these
expectations.
expectations and it didn't go that way at all. It's like, no, it didn't. Turned out
Mm-hmm,
way better than you ever could have imagined. And when you start to get those affirmations, they are so empowering and equip you to stand in your integrity, have those courageous conversations, and take ownership of you.
mm. Yes, the image that keeps coming to my mind is of rock polishing,
Mm,
right?
tell me
It's
more.
like the like that's how gemstones become the reflective, beautiful
Hmm.
little specks of amazing earth that they are, right? Is
Hmm.
that they come out of the ground and they're cloudy or
Hmm.
they're just rough. They're still beautiful. You can still see that, like, oh, there's something special, especially like, get it wet and you're like, oh, it's special, right? It's gonna look awesome. But it's not that it's like exactly what you said. It's not that it's hard to polish that stone.
Hmm.
It's just different
Hmm.
and it looks different.
Yep.
And every time you put it through the tumbler or
Hmm.
every time you cut a facet, right? Like it's like you're just you're just realigning
Hmm. Yep.
and it's making it shine what's already there. It's revealing
Hmm.
more of what's already there.
Yep. Hmm.
And I think from the work that I do too, when we talk about really like expanding into who you already are,
Hmm.
being more in alignment with who you already are.
Yep.
That's what that is. It's just we're not adding things to you. We're not changing you. Like that's not the purpose. It's revealing more of the beauty of who you are already.
Yep.
You're so unique. You're so special. There's no two pieces of jasper that are exactly the same. They all have their own different little
Hmm.
swirls and inclusions and beauty. And that's exactly how I see humans. Like,
Yeah.
how can we, what if we get to see more of who you are more
Hmm.
clearly?
Yeah.
And you get to, from your language, be in alignment.
Yeah.
And we're not covering up any part. It's
Right.
just you get to be all of you, no matter
Hmm.
where you are.
Yep. Yeah, it's what I get to do day in and day out with everybody in my life. A coach put it to me like this. I'm just a mirror of you, reflecting back to you your greatness. And when there's nothing more fulfilling to me than I see my clients see in themselves what I see in them. And
Hmm.
they stand in that proudly. Even if there's friction present, right? I let that go. I got out of that relationship. I changed jobs. I started going to the gym. It's hard because it's new, not because I'm not capable. And you know what? I'm proud of that because in all of those scenarios, that's someone choosing the best version of themselves. And that update, upgrade, next easiest step thing, that applies internally as well. You can update and upgrade those agreements that you have with yourself, which are the most important. Because when you stand in alignment, I'm a universe guy. The universe acts in reciprocity, and you will repel that which is not for you,
Hmm.
and you will attract that which is. And but what that might look like, what it can look like when you decide, when you choose you, when you make yourself a priority, when you stand in alignment, it might look like a breakup. It might look like a career change. It might look like sitting still. It could also look like flow
Hmm.
and be fun and find joy, find your partner. What I find when people are making aligned decisions, even if it gets hard at first, they have such an increase in bandwidth and capacity that despite all that friction, they sleep the best they've ever slept.
Hmm.
And it's like, how is that even possible? Because those are the signs that it was the right decision, that you're taking the next easiest step. You can handle that shit. And for some people, you look forward to handling that stuff because that stuff is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
When you're when you're doing the things that, again, when we talk about alignment, when you're doing the things that are aligned to who you are and your path forward,
Hmm.
there's this shift for me. It doesn't feel like work. It feels easy.
Hmm.
Um, it doesn't mean it doesn't require effort.
Right.
Like, but the effort feels like it feels good to put the effort there.
Yes.
That's the difference,
Hmm.
right? And it doesn't mean that there's also not, like you said, there's not ever friction or there's never like, oh, okay, we got to like navigate
Hmm.
some
Oh, it's not a straight
white
line.
waters,
I don't
right?
let,
Or getting,
don't get it
getting
twisted.
getting to the top of a mountain. Love hiking. I love, like it's like your legs might burn for a while because you're like, are we still going up?
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Oh, you want to hear a mountain story?
I would yes, we will.
Okay.
Give me the mountain story because I love mountain stories.
Okay.
And then we'll wrap up.
So me and a couple of buddies that I deployed with, we do an adventure every couple of years. We did Salcantay into Machu Picchu.
Oh,
We did Kilimanjaro,
oh my gosh.
and the day we summit Kilimanjaro, we're at 15,000 feet, and you're looking straight up the face of the mountain, and it's switchback
Just damn
and
switchbacks.
switchbacks. You're mar walking miles and feeling like you're going nowhere. And I was like, okay, dude, all we got to do is crest that thing, and we're at the top. I had convinced myself that at the top of this face, that's the finish line. The big sign that says 19,000 feet, Mount Kilimanjaro, you made it, was waiting for us. And we step off in the dark. The moon is, we are above the clouds. The moon is a strobe light. It's beautiful. And we're 5 minutes in. I kid you not. And Prosper, our porter, was like, "Give me your pack." I said, "Dude, I got it. I'm okay. We're slow, but we're okay." He's like, "I want you to make it. Give me your pack." I was like, "You know what? You're right. Ego, you go there. Prosper, here's my pack." And we continue. Sun comes up, still on that mountain. And there's like this moment where you're just like, I would just rather roll down this bitch than take one more step towards the top. And finally, we hit the top. We come over, we crest this hill, and I just have that same emotional dump. Because I just got done telling myself this, like, it's so hard above 15,000 feet.
Oh yeah.
Like one step is like, oh my God, this is how how is this that challenging? It's mind-boggling. And before we stepped off, I'm in that place where I know it's been hard and it's getting harder. I'm away from my kids. I'm away from my business. You better come home with a story worth telling. Like this is how I'm setting up this experience for this last day. And we come over the top. And I just like, oh my God, we made it. This is it. I'm so proud. Yeah, I'm giving daps to everybody, knuckles, high fives. And I'm crying. I'm weeping. Prosper comes over and he puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, Kaka Simba. That's a baby lion in Swahili. He's like, Kaka Simba. When you are done, you dry your face and we must go there.
Oh
And
no.
off in the distance, this little green speck that is that sign I thought I was going to see. We still have another 1,000 feet to climb and another couple of miles to go. And I was so pissed. I was like, you let me waste that?
Oh no.
You let me. I was so mad. Not because we had that much further to go, but because
You had the emotional release that you
it
thought
was
you'd.
early. I was early. I came too quick. I was just
Oh
like,
no.
damn it.
You hate that. I hate to see it.
Oh man, that's my mountain story.
But did you make it? Did you make
I
it to the
did. I
top?
did. We made it. We made
Okay.
it. It was real. It was not that fun. That last leg, I was just like, I just in the back of my mind, I was like, man, I fucking wasted that. Jeez. Yeah, just like through gritted teeth, I just took every step. I was just like, fine, we're here. Take the pictures. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. I have heard Mount Kilimanjaro is hard in that, like in
Yeah.
that way. It's tough. Mentally, it's
Yeah.
like a mentally
Yes. Yeah. It
tough
is. It is.
one.
It is not. It. Jesus. Uh, it is physical, but it's not like it's literally one step in front. It's one foot in front of the other. There's no bouldering. There's no like risk of injury. Like nothing. It's not Everest.
You're just inclining for
But damn, like after 10,000 feet, it gets weird. It gets weird.
Oh my God. Oh, and here you are back to
And
tell the
in
story.
that moment, I experienced this whole conversation.
Right. Here we are.
And scene.
So with that,
Yeah.
clearly you're a badass. And all of these lessons, right, are available that you have lived through, I think is
Yeah.
the big piece here. So how do you then help others? And how can they find you? If they've been listening to this conversation, they're like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I've
Yeah,
been looking for. How do they find you?
for sure. Head over to Next Level PFC. That's Papa Foxtrot Charlie.com. And we can set up a conversation. You can follow me at Coach Derz, DERZ on Instagram. You can find my blog at coachderz.com. And you can see everything that Joanna and I are up to at next level underscore PHX on Instagram. And you can see how we put those 5 pillars of lifestyle integration: mindset, training, nutrition, recovery, and hydration to work for ourselves and our clients on a daily basis.
Mm. Mycal, thank you for being here. Thank you for this amazing conversation. And I just, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that I get to be in community with you and other people like you, but you specifically, not just
Mm.
not
I'm
just a blanket.
no, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Thank you.
All of your links will be in the show notes. If there's anything that you, the listener, are curious about, check it out. Everything's down there. And reach out. Reach out if you have questions or follow along. If you want to hear more, tell me. Let me know. And if we need, Mycal, if we need to come back, tell
I'm
more
in.
stories,
I'm in.
right?
I got plenty of them.
Whatever's going on. Thank you so much for this time. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Love you, girl.
That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening, and be sure to like and subscribe. And again, if anything resonated with you from this episode, I would love to hear from you. Email me at Hannah, HANNAH, at expansiveceo.com and tell me about it. And if you're ready for your greatest expansion, you can find ways to work with me at expansiveceo.com and at x2wealthplanning.com. That's X, the numeral 2, wealthplanning.com. So until next time, remember that there is enough, you are enough, and your birthright in this lifetime is to be expansive.